Okay, so you have this cool business and you're looking for a co-founder, and you need that co-founder. My personal preference is to not go anything alone. I'm right there with you. But there's a few things that you need to make sure that you do before you start working with a co-founder. And this is based on my own experience, so it's not something that I just read in a book. You need to first and foremost prepare for the worst. Because it all seems really fun and exciting at the beginning when you have this idea and you find somebody who shares your passion for it, and you think it's kind of like when you meet somebody for the first time that you want to marry or whatever. You're like, oh, this is awesome, this is great, and then you look past to the future and think, oh, this is going to be awesome. We're going to be millionaires. You need to bring yourself back and you need to prepare for the worst. You need to prepare for that day when that person either quits, takes your stuff, or tries to push you out or whatever. Doesn't mean that you have to have all these uncomfortable conversations. What you can do is go to an attorney or another service, make sure that you get an operating agreement or a shareholders agreement to govern your company, because as an aside, you should make sure that you have an entity when you start your company. But you basically create a document that's almost like a prenuptial. It's saying, now if somebody dies, and this happened to somebody that I know, one of their co-founders died, and they really had not done a good job with the LLC agreement, and it's really difficult when you have a multi-million-dollar company running and you haven't provided for somebody dying. So you really need to prepare for the worst, and this is something that an attorney or another professional can help you with. Another important step when working with a co-founder is to make sure that you're documenting all your negotiations and all your discussions, and make sure that you have the proper contracts in place. You want to ensure that your agreements not only work for running your company and working with a co-founder, but there are some serious securities laws that you want to make sure that you never violate, because most people do not look good in orange jumpsuits. So having an attorney review these agreements to make sure if you're issuing equity with a co-founder and trying to create this company and basically divide up equity, whenever that comes into play, you want to make sure that you have the proper agreements, that you're following the proper steps. And then a really great process for following, if you are the original founder and you're trying to bring people in, is to date before you get married. It's a basic concept. So, you have coffee with somebody, you've been introduced to this potential co-founder, or you might have met them at a startup weekend, co-founders lab, something like that. Don't jump into it too soon. You want to make sure that you date by basically working out, okay, what's their attitude towards having agreements? What's their attitude to when things go wrong? Then you want to work on a project together. And you want to make sure that your working styles, that they mesh, because the people that you work with on a startup, you're going to spend a lot of time with them. So you want to make sure those are the kind of people that you not only want to go to work with, but that you wouldn't mind having over to your house and meeting your family and hanging out with your kids if you have kids. So you want to date, then you almost want to live together when you're doing that process of working on a project. And then you get the prenuptial, which is the LLC or your shareholder agreement, and then you get married. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Working with a co-founder can be amazing, and it can take your company to a whole new level, and my philosophy is that it's an absolute requirement for scaling. But make sure that you don't go into it with your eyes closed. Make sure you have your eyes wide open, prepare for the worst, document, 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 and date before you get married.